Okay, let me see if the audio is working and then we can. Yep, good. So, at some point between maybe five, six, seven, a wonderful California senator released her healthcare proposal. And to her credit, it's not the worst one we've seen because Biden's was much more awful. But I figured instead of sitting back and trying to, like read an article that summarizes the points of it, I'm going to actually read the Medium post that she put up detailing her proposal. And Biden's campaign actually responded to this, which is even more amusing. Okay, one of the problems with our politics is that it often demands 60-second sound bites or slogans to answer complex questions. There is perhaps no more complicated or more personal issue for Americans in healthcare. I know this from my own personal life, caring for my mother as she battled colon cancer. And I also know it from talking to so many people, so many Americans in this campaign. Seniors and union members, young people and parents, workers and caregivers. No panicked parent should hold a sick child while worrying about an expensive hospital bill. No senior should have to cut their pill in half just to make ends meet. Right now, the American healthcare system is a patchwork of plans, providers, and costs that have left people frustrated, powerless, and insurance companies in charge. And the bottom line is that healthcare just costs too much. So, as a presidential candidate, here is where I stand to make transformative change for the better. Ooh, I wonder what she's going to say. Hmm. Okay, the headline for this is Stopping GOP Attacks on Americans' Healthcare. Insurance companies and drug companies have jacked up prices so much that Americans on average pay twice what people in other countries pay for healthcare. Even though we spend more, we have failed to insure every nearly 30 million Americans, and the problem has gotten worse under, I was going to say Trump, I don't need to say his full name. I don't know why they do that. Why can't they just say President Trump or Trump? Like, whatever. It's a little pet peeve. It's not, it's my little thing that I don't understand. Okay, 7 million people have lost their health insurance under his presidency, and 21 million risk losing coverage as his administration and their Republican allies tried to overturn the Affordable Care Act in the courts. Between 2014 and 2017, 15,000 people died because Republican states decided not to expand Medicaid. See, this goes back to a problem, and I'm cutting this off so I can mention something. She says or she writes rather, that between 2014 and 2017, 15,000 people died, right, from their lack of coverage, because Medicaid was not expanded by Republicans in these different states. But if the ACA was truly as successful as these establishment clowns try to make it seem like it is, wouldn't those people have been covered anyway? And this is my issue, that healthcare, as far as not covering people, has been going on for decades. It's something that has just been around for much longer than Trump. And it seems like every single candidate has this thing where they try to make you believe, oh my God, Trump is a menace, and this is like, yeah, he's not exactly helping the situation, but this thing of people not having coverage has been around way longer than him. So that number that she mentioned of 2014, 2017, that was one of the other signs of, I'm not going to directly say the past 10 year didn't stop this problem. I'm just going to, recite some statistic that goes back to that period. Okay, Marco says Obama said the same thing and only made it more of a mixed system instead of was this checking or choosing one of the other directions. Yeah. Well, again, we're gonna let me just read the rest of this. The first thing the next Democratic president must do is end these senseless attacks on Obamacare. As someone who fought tooth and nail as attorney general and as senator to prevent repeal, that's exactly what I will continue to do. But we are also at a crisis point for healthcare in America. Big corporations are still putting profits over people's well-being, and Republicans are determined to destroy what progress we have made and put those same corporations back in charge of the system. The next Democratic president needs a clear, transformative, and achievable vision of how we finally change this broken system for good, addressing what keeps people up at night. I look at this issue through a fairly simple prism. Each night, millions of Americans wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning worried about some aspect of their health care. How am I going to afford a $5,000 deductible just for walking my child into the emergency room because their fever won't go down? How will I pay that surprise medical bill because the ambulance that took me to the hospital was out of network? How am I going to continue to see my doctor when I get a new job and my new insurance plan doesn't have them in their network? I know how, past single payer. We saw the Mark. Okay, Mark says 7 million US citizens lost their health care insurance under this presidency. Yeah, she mentioned earlier in this. This is her Medium statement. And if you want to link to it, I can post it in there. But I don't think either of you wants to check this out. Okay, now there's a big bold where they make the font larger. It's saying in America, healthcare should be a right, not a privilege only for those who can afford it. It's why we need Medicare for all. Imagine changing a job and not having to worry about your healthcare coverage. Imagine going to the pharmacy and not having to worry about an outrageous price increase on the prescription drugs you need. Imagine walking through those sliding glass doors at the emergency room or doctor's office or hospital, knowing that the first card you pull out will be a Medicare card, not a credit card. We need comprehensive health insurance that covers every American. How we get to Medicare for all. Medicare works and it's popular. Seniors transition into it every day, and people keep their doctors and get care at a lower cost. Let's not lose sight that we have a Medicare system that's already working. Now, let's expand to all Americans and give everyone access to comprehensive health care. Medicare for all will cover all medical, this is in bolded, medically necessary services, including emergency room visits, doctor visits, vision, dental, hearing aids, mental health, substance use abuse treatment, and comprehensive reproductive healthcare services. It will also allow the Secretary of Health and Human Services to negotiate for lower prescription drug prices. Under my Medicare for All plan, we will also expand the program to include other benefits Americans desperately need. That will save money in the long run, such as expanded mental health programs, including telehealth and easier access to early diagnosis and treatment, and innovative patient programs to help people identify the right doctor and understand how to navigate the health system. Let's see, Mark, what's something else? I'm on the Medium website. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even have an account on there. That's why I just didn't think it was your kind of tough cup of tea. Marco says Obamacare gives corporations massive profits. So how is getting rid of Obamacare empowering to corporations? Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about the ACA should always be that it is a false advertisement. It's like people tell you about the coverage, but you got high deductibles and premiums, and like it's not just oh you get covered now you have health care and that's it. And they try to make it seem as if it was this groundbreaking landmark thing. Like I said, the only thing Obama should be going should whenever actual real historians get together, the only thing, two things they should praise him for are I'm about to have my middle finger, restoring relations with Cuba and the Iran deal, the comprehensive joint plan of action. Those are the only two transformative things he did. Everything else, meh. Frank Dodd, meh. Just we can go down the list, but you get the point. Okay. Uh let's see here. What part was I at? Okay. Oh, I did the telepath. Okay. And I'll institute a serious audit of prescription drug costs to ensure pharmaceutical companies are not charging more than other comparable countries. A comprehensive maternal child program to dramatically reduce deaths among women and infants of color, and meaningful rural healthcare reforms, such as increasing residency slots for rural areas with workforce shortages and loan forgiveness for rural healthcare professionals to promote high quality access for people regardless of their zip code. But I am clear eyed about the challenge of achieving this goal. It will not be easy and it will not happen overnight. So here is my plan to get us there. First, when we pass my plan, all Americans will immediately have the ability to buy into Medicare. This is similar to the immediate introductory buy-in provided by Senator Sanders' Medicare for All bill. Right now, it would lower costs and give us a baseline plan as we transition to Medicare for All. Second, we will set up an expanded Medicare system with a 10-year phase-in period. During this transition, we will automatically enroll newborns and uninsured into this new and improved Medicare system, give all doctors time to get into the system, and provide a common sense path for employers and employees, the uninsured and others, on federally designated programs such as Medicaid or the Affordable Care Act exchanges to transition. So the article I read by The Hill, where they talked about this plan of hers. This is one of the points they mentioned where in Sand Medicare for All bill, it's supposed to take the transition period is set for a 4-year period, enough for a first term as president. In this, she's talking about needing to do that same thing over 10 years. So, I don't really understand why we need 6 more years with you to do something we could do with Sanders in 4. Oh, but whatever. People still like it for some reason. This will expand the number of insured Americans and create a new viable public system that guarantees universal coverage as a lower cost. Expand the transition window will also lower the overall cost of the program. Third, in setting up this plan, we will allow private insurers to offer Medicare plans as a part of the system that adhere to strict Medicare requirements on costs and benefits. This would function similar to how private Medicare plans work today, which cover about a third of Medicare seniors and operate within the Medicare system. Medicare will set the rules of the road for those plans, including price and quality, and private insurance companies will pay by those rules, not the other way around. This preserves the opinions that seniors have today, the options that seniors have today, my mistake. It expands options to all Americans while also telling insurance companies they don't run the show, even though under her plan they still would for what, 10 years? Okay, what about healthcare monopolies? Yeah, what about healthcare monopolies? I don't see this in here. I guess I know who I won't be voting for. Not that I needed this to tell me. Unlike the current system, private plans in the new Medicare system will be held to stricter consumer protection standards than they are today, such as getting reimbursed less than what the Medicare plan will cost to operate, to ensure that they are delivering meaningful value and unable to profit off gaming consumers or the government. Off of I should, yeah. I'm making all kind of errors. I don't even care because this is a dumb plan anyway. People will also be able to purchase supplemental insurance covering services not included in Medicare, such as medical insurance for traveling abroad or cosmetic surgery. I mean, I get the one about insurance needed for traveling abroad because people do have injuries when they go out of out of the U.S. But why do you need this? Kind of goes back to when we were talking about the high cost of things and the low wages, where I was saying how if you have a company that's charging someone, let's say, hundreds of dollars for shoes or for some other thing that you don't need, that just to survive, like water or food, I really have no problem with them doing that because the people who are sensible are going to say screw you, and then their company is going to crash and burn because of the ego and really arrogance of the people running it that were in control of retail. But when it's food or some other utility, then things need to be lowered. So in this, it's like, why does someone need their coverage of cosmetic surgery? That, like, again, if it's not a utility, take a hike. But look, I'd rather cover everything than cover, than like not have coverage of anything, or have like a actual contentious battle over that. You mean I get to pay more? What a treat! Thanks, Kamala. Yeah, yeah. This is her great idea. My computer got so bored that it logged out. Didn't want to, because I had the screen on the same Medium article, so it was sick of that. Eventually, we will allow private insurance to offer a plan in the Medicare system, but they will be subject to strict requirements to ensure it lowers costs and expands coverage. If they want to pay for our rules, they can be in the system. If not, they have to get out. Throughout this entire period, I would also ensure the new system of Medicare for All meets clear benchmarks before asking people to join the plan. Has the public Medicare plan fulfilled its promise of high quality coverage without unaffordable cost sharing? Have we meaningfully expanded coverage to the uninsured? Have we reduced costs for middle class Americans and working people? Can Kamala stop asking so many damn questions and just put out a proposal that is what Sanders is proposing? I'm sorry, that's me editorializing. I apologize. This isn't about pursuing an ideology. This is about delivering for the people. Data matters and should inform our transition. Healthcare is personal to people, and we should make sure we get it right. These benchmarks are also key as we fight back against the lies pushed by Big Pharma and their allies like Kamala Harris that this plan would end Medicare as we know it, or other misleading attacks. Seniors will be able to keep their Medicare and have dental, vision, and hearing aids covered immediately. Medicare Advantage plans would continue uninterrupted by the transition. Under my plan, no one will lose access to insurance during a transition, period. At the end of the 10-year transition, which will take place after I leave office, whether I get one or two terms, every American will be a part of this Medicare system. They will get insurance either through the new public Medicare plan or a Medicare plan offered by private insurer within that system. Seniors will see stronger Medicare benefits than they have now. We will cover millions more people than who don't have health insurance today, and we will reduce costs, save our country money, and ensure that no American has to sacrifice getting the care they need just because the cost is a barrier. We can't afford not to change the system. Right now, the U.S. spends 3.5 trillion a year on healthcare. If we do nothing over the next decade, that number will skyrocket to an estimated 6 trillion a year. So the real question is, how can we afford not to act? By extending the phase-in period to 10 years, we will decrease the overall cost of the program compared to the Sanders proposal. Oh, there it is. She's throwing shade at Bernie. There we go. I was waiting for that. Okay, let's read that again. By extending the phase-in period to 10 years, we will decrease the overall cost of the program compared to the Sanders proposal. Yeah, I don't believe that. Like, according to who? I'm supposed to be convinced that taking 6 more years to do something you should have done in 4 is a money saver, and we can save additional money by accelerating delivery system reforms and value-based care that rewards meaningful outcomes. More than 200 economists have said we will drastically save money over the long run if we expand the Medicare program to include everyone and limit profits for drug companies and insurance companies. Yeah, but those 200 economists did not say, hey, just put 6 more years in this and you'll do it better than Bernie. No one said that. Whatever. Senator Sanders, for example, has put forward a number of ways to help pay for his Medicare for All plan, including an income-based premium paid by employers, higher taxes on the top 1%, tax and capital gains at the same rate as ordinary income, among others. I think these are good options, especially making the top 1% corporations pay their fair share through a more progressive income, payroll, and estate tax. However, one of Senator Sanders' options is to tax household making above 29,000 additional 4% income-based premium. I believe this hits the middle class too hard. Oh, come on. Kamala cares about me while she, is going to help me save, what is this, 4% on my, if I make over 29,000. I can't wait for her to then put me in prison for my son not going to school or whatever the truancy thing she backed. What's up, Ruben? He says, I think Marco was talking about the Democrats in general and specifically the Sanders types. Oh, well, I didn't even read his comment. I was just trying to cap off this. I think there's like what, only 2 more paragraphs. Okay, that's why I propose that we exempt households making below 100,000 along with a higher income threshold for middle class families living in high cost areas. To pay for this specific change, I would tax Wall Street stock trades at 0.2%, bond trades at 0.1%, and derivative transactions at 0.002%. Think of it like this: there's a $2 fee on a $1,000 trade by investors in big banks. I would also end foreign tax shelters by taxing offshore corporation income at the same rate as domestic corporate income. Together, these proposals would raise over 2 trillion over 10 years, more than enough to make up the difference from raising the middle class income threshold. So I don't think this is, just to clarify, any better than what Sanders proposed. In fact, I think it's worse. I don't. I just so Ruben gets what I'm saying. I like what Sanders proposed, not this, stretched out version of it. What I find so funny about this part right here is that she gives a way in which she's going to pay for it. And you already know that whether it's Delaney or Biden, who his campaign responded to this, I'll read it later, they're all going to be asking the same question after she just explained how it will be financed. How are you going to pay for it? 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 I don't even like Harris, and I have to give defend this article that she wrote, or that one of her staffers wrote. In total, this plan will reduce our country's healthcare costs and lower Americans' out of pocket costs, all while extending health insurance coverage to every American. So that's my plan. Stop the attacks on Americans' healthcare coming from this administration, their Republican and special interest allies. Expand on the progress made under Obamacare and immediately offer an improved Medicare buy-in to all improved Medicare buy-in to all Americans. Put in Jesus Christ, like, use a period. Put in place an extended Medicare system that everyone is in. Expand coverage, reduce costs, increase options for care, and establish a reasonable phase-in period with clear benchmarks to ensure a smooth transition to Medicare for all. And what will the results be? Health insurance for every American, expansive coverage for nearly all medical benefits, continuity of care, lower health care costs for American consumers and our country overall, improved health, well-being, and productivity for the American people. And I have to say, I do feel an improved health, well-being, and productivity after wrapping up this article. Jesus. All right, let's get to Biden's response. I don't know who it was. It was someone that he's associated with. Oh, Sanders responded to in the last 8 minutes. Like, since the stream started. That's great. I'll pick up on that one. I'll read his first. Go over here. Okay. Senator Kamala Harris has taken fire from Senator Bernie Sanders as her campaign seeks to roll out an alternative to Medicare for all ahead of the second Democratic debate. Faiz Shakir, I still can't pronounce his name, Sanders' campaign manager, slammed Harris's plan for relying on private insurance companies. Call it anything you want, but you can't call this plan Medicare for all. Folding to the interest of the health insurance industry is both bad policy and bad politics. This plan is centered around privatizing Medicare, enriching insurance executives, and introducing more corporate greed and profiteering into the Medicare system. Oh man, he got her. Harris unveiled her plan Monday, and Shakir spent the morning sparring on Twitter with Harris, campaign staff, and supporters of her new proposal. Wait, so there's a whole series of tweets of him. Oh, I have to see that. I'll go to Twitter later. I'm not going to do it during the stream, but if he's really on there, like arguing back and forth with like 10 or 11 different people, I'd love to see that. I can't wait to go and check out those pushbacks. Okay, here it is. Okay, Joe Biden's presidential campaign on Monday criticized Senator Kamala Harris for releasing a health plan that seemingly backtracks on her pledge to support the Medicare for All legislation from another White House hopeful, Senator Bernie Sanders. Yes, she stabbed him in the back. Call it what it is. Hey, I'm going to co-sponsor your bill in the Senate, and I'm going to introduce my own thing that basically, is not the same thing as what you had. Okay, in a statement, the former vice president's deputy campaign manager, Kate Bendingfield, noted Harris was the first Democrat to co-sponsor Sanders' plan and even stood with him at the press conference announcing the bill. This new have it every which way approach pushes the extremely challenging implementation of the Medicare for All part of this plan 10 years into the future, meaning it would not occur on the watch of even a two-term administration, which is what I said earlier, Bedingfield said. Bedingfield also hit Harris for her refusal to be straight with the American middle class, who would have a large tax increase forced on them with this plan. Well, it's actually not true. She was talking about, like I said, I'm not a fan of this, but if you read and this is something I mentioned when I read this, how people don't even read it and they say something stupid. She mentioned wanting to cut taxes for those making under 100,000. It's like, this is why I hate these weird commentators. They say stuff that you never said, so they can try to like trick people who are too lazy to go and do the research themselves. Who backstabbed Bernie? Ruben asks. Kamala, she was one of the co-sponsors for his Medicare for All plan. Now she's putting out her own one, where in her own article critiqued his. Is this all that idiot wrote, or was that a statement? Uh, oh no, she said that. Yeah, it was a statement. Okay, so yeah, that's the Biden campaign response. So we now have two responses: one from the left, one from the right. A Democrat attacking another Democrat from the right, which is lovely. It's always a joy to see that. This is Blumenthal. I don't care about him. Let's get out of the Senate. So useless. Okay, Ruben says, "Oh, I wasn't listening during that part. That's why I asked." And no one's upset. We're just I was trying to clarify what I was talking about. You actually have a whole series of people who are co-sponsoring that Sanders plan or bill in the Senate who have stayed on it, like Merkley. I think Markey's a sponsor too. The junior senator from Massachusetts. So there are people who are actually loyal to seeing that through. What this is that Harris thinks that she can copy Warren in that, Warren kept putting all those different proposals and plans. She thinks she can do the same thing and like, you know, because with me, I get the point of putting out plans on things that someone else hasn't explained their position on. Like how Warren is apparently going to put out a plan on a new trade deal that she might want, where it's protectionist and it's supposed to be fair trade as opposed to the free one, which to clarify is the one that under programs like NAFTA and the USMCA allows U.S. jobs to be shipped to Mexico and Canada so that the workers over there can do the same kind of work but get paid less because they don't have labor laws or the same type of work. So something like that where there's not a stern progressive outlook of how that's supposed to be done, I find completely acceptable. But there's certain things that if these people want the nomination, they should be very basic in their acceptance of. Like if you're, trying to have an environmental plan and it's not the Green New Deal, get the hell out of here. Or if it's not complementary to that, I don't want to do business with you. Same thing with single payer. If you don't support the 4-year one that Sanders was talking about, go away. But people act like when you have standards, you're trying to help Trump. You're part of the secret coalition of supposed progressives that go to the polls and vote for Trump because they have some litmus test for only the Democrats or whatever. So they want to be lazy and not accept the fact that they have to actually work to get your vote. Okay, Doug Jones is fine with the GOP getting rid of Roe v. Wade. When did he say that? I mean, Ruben, you know what? I almost want to ask for an article or a link, but it doesn't even matter because he's going to lose the Senate seat to to everyone's favorite failed Senate candidate in U.S. history, Roy Moore, who's going to come back and sweep the title now that his allegations have all been proven false and to be drummed up by the Democrats. So he's on his way out. It doesn't even matter. He'll be able to vote in like maybe 2 more major laws, and that's it. Remember, we don't even have like a real Senate anymore. Like because of McConnell blocking everything. God, and then that chick, the one that's running against him, what's her name, McGirth or whatever. I saw her yesterday on the what's that damn network on MSNBC, and I kind of had mixed feelings because I don't when I don't know anything about a candidate, I like not to prejudge them until I've seen what their positions are. They asked her if she would support Medicare for all. Oh, what we really need to do is improve the ACA and expand coverage of the ACA, and you can't just throw something. It's like, oh, okay, I've heard enough. It's like yeah. Hey, if when McConnell beats you and gets his 7th term, I won't be too upset. Ruben says, I meant with how crappy Doug Jones has been. but I read that a Democrat in Alabama actually did allow the abortion ban. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like a lot of these Democrats in these southern states think they have to act like Republicans. That's how Clinton got his start. The new Democrat coalition. I don't know who Marco's talking to, but I've said before that there's only like maybe three candidates running that I think could beat Trump, and like everybody else just gets smashed. So I'm not one of the people who thinks it's all guaranteed because there are a lot of, it's. I always want to say there are a lot of stupid people who back some candidate that I don't get the appeal of. But if if the Democrat is one of the candidates I'm not interested in, it's like a toss up between being stupid and having no options. Like some of it will be stupidity, some of it will be, thinking that both options suck. And in some cases they do like last time. So, it's a little bit more complicated than I care for it to be. Mm. Okay, Baltimore mayor. Where's the red? There's some other comments I might put out there. I was expecting that article, and I saw the different paragraphs, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna be reading that all stream," but thankfully not. My curse has been lifted. I just wish we would have some people that actually pay attention to this stuff. They might not get tricked as often. Let me go over to Sanders' campaign manager's Twitter because they said he's arguing back and forth with people over that proposal. I want to see this. I want to see him throw down. Let's head here. He's retweeting himself. Oh, here's something he wrote 5 hours ago. What was the original comment? Okay, Topher Spiro wrote, "How so? If they are paid." Wait. Okay, he's responding to Harris's plan, where somebody wrote, "One upside to keep a version of Medicare Advantage. The plans are generally popular with the third of seniors enrolled in them. That said, keeping a private option means giving up some, not all, of potentially simplicity/efficiency gains in Medicare for all." Topher says, "How so if they are paid less than the government plan?" And then that's when Sanders' campaign manager says, "Insurers aren't charities. If they're being paid less, what's making up their difference? New premiums? Please don't say amorphous efficiencies. You lose that argument when you're introducing more privatization into the program." I'm gonna thumb that up or like it or whatever. Hearted. No, nobody wrote anything else good. I'm not making anyone upset that their things are not being seen. But they said he was going a whole tirade. I see like two people. So continues her gradual back down. He's referring to Harris for Medicare for all. This is why you want a candidate with a lifetime of consistency and a track record on the big issues facing us. I think I might still have that video if I can find it where it was like after Harris announced that she was let me see. Like the day she announced that she was going to sponsor Sanders's healthcare proposal, so Medicare for all. I did a video and I was like, "I never knew that this was gonna be the day that my senator would do something right for once." Let me see. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it on there. Let me thumb that up. Let's see. Oh, that's why I didn't put her first name in there. Okay, so this is after we're doing a little flashback. This is after she announced that she would co-sponsor the Sanders's Medicare for All proposal, and I think it was within the same It was like the day after or something. I put that up. Let me see if I can find it on here. Uh, This morning I woke up and I read something that just made me nearly fall out of my chair. And in a good way, surprisingly. Well, it already was surprising. So the gist of it is that there's an article in Politico in which yesterday Senator Harris, who represents my state and with whom I have not been a fan of since she entered the Senate, decided to back Senator Sanders, that is, his Medicare for All bill, which is an advocate for single payer health care in the U.S. This is very strange, given that my other senator, Feinstein's, expressed her supposed concerns about the various parts of the program. Never mind the fact that you should be concerned because it doesn't work, but it's obviously conflict of her interest in the financiers that she has and their ties to pharmaceutical companies, just disguised as being very concerned. So Harris's thing is a little bit more interesting to me because I'm not too well versed in her donors. So I'd have to see if any of them, because they always have some agenda when they fund. Hey, this was a year ago. I know who they are now. Pack and the rest of the crew. We found out. Was that a question mark? Is that what you put, Ruben? Okay, out of all the establishment Democrats, why are they choosing the one that got funded by Trump himself to be the anointed one? I told you about their doctrine that if you don't support her, they can call you sexist and racist. And that's the only reason she got picked above anybody else. The previous anointed one was also very connected to Trump. Yeah. The chosen one of the DNC. Oh, you're not gonna be my chosen one because I won't vote for you. Oh well. So they can have fun with their little, we want to play Star Wars game. I'll be on the dark side. I might not be on the dark side, but I'm not gonna be part of your rebellion. Mm. Oh, I found an article. Let me see if I can pull it up. Since Ruben hasn't let go of his hatred for a certain Amash character. Let's see here. I think he's the only Republican I've seen in modern, that's in office that hasn't Netanyahu is Palpatine. Yeah, and then Trump is Vader. Hold on a second, let me send this, put this in here. I could snatch it and grab it and show it to Ruben. I was gonna tell you that there's actually I don't hate Amash anymore. Yeah, not at the moment because you've been called out and confronted for your disdain for that man. I was gonna say in this article because I thought it was interesting. He's actually uh, Trump is Jabba, and then wouldn't that make Melania Leia? In that article from 2 years ago, he said, if you want single payer, try it at the state level, and I think that's the only time in the last 10 years I've seen a currently holding office Republican not just completely downvote, by their opposition through rhetoric, single payer, like not just completely go, oh my God, this could never work. Don't freak out and lose their minds as they usually do. So that's you can look at that and check it out when you want to. Oh God, I can't believe that this, like, I swear, man, these politicians are such snakes. Also, I heard that Booker is like going to try to replicate what Harris did to Biden. Uh, by like talking about, because I said before, the only thing he does that's worth the piss is like lead on criminal justice stuff. So apparently he's going to try to mess with him over that. Good luck, I guess. It's so stupid to announce it before the debate. Like, I'm going to have my breakout moment by going after the front runner too. It's like, okay, shut up. And actually, I already realized that somebody might say, well, you're hypocritical because you criticize, what's his name, Bolton, the national security advisor, because when they asked him what their plan was for, I think it was North Korea or Iran, he was like, in the past, U.S. has announced its plans and this has made its enemies aware, which is why we're going to keep it hidden, so that they don't know. It's like, yeah, but that's literally government by mystery. So, I there's a distinction between them doing something stupid like that, where they're trying to keep information from you, and a presidential candidate hiding what his plans are for a debate performance, because that doesn't threaten anything. Or you get the point. It's there. If you can't see the difference now, I don't know what else to tell you. Did you see Biden's old weird tweet? Oh, Booker's old weird tweet about Winnie the Pooh. No, what did he say? I eagerly await to see what that was. Give me the 411. Hey, you trying to remember? It was so strange. You had to like erase it from your memory. It left you with psychological damage. I don't remember. I have to look for it again. Well, whenever you do, you can post it in the server, and I'll go in there and see it. Like I saw that Hickenlooper one where he was happy that he was polling at 2%. It's like, what a fool. That was my email. Sanders is asking for more cash. Said there are 11,000 plus people short. Everybody's short. He's short. Tulsi's short. Tulsi might even be in the the third debate. So I've tried to help him as much as I can, but there's a certain point I'm tapped. So did you see? I have to. Okay. So I think we're pretty much done here. If Ruben has any last comments, questions, concerns, speculations, or theories to put out, he can speak now or forever hold his peace, or at least until Saturday when the next stream is scheduled. Uh, the same thing for any of the other two people that are here, whoever they are, the mysterious characters. All right, cool. Yeah, the lame healthcare plan. Not the worst one, but it's still attempting to keep the industry in place, which, at between the high cost of prescription drugs and coverage in general, they need to get gone. Just go push out. So thank you. Have a good day.